All right, Gage, one of the questions that we get most of the time is how big you should actually make the hole in your barrel. What are your suggestions?
I'm going to suggest a hole big enough where they can get their paw in all the way up to that first elbow. And the reason I like that, to get it in that far, is where they can come in and start clawing and scratching to get the other bait raked out towards them. And as Chad mentioned earlier, when we put the dog food in the bottom of the barrel, what that's going to do is make it so they can still get a paw in to get it there and know it's there, but they're going to have to work at it. I don't want a hole so small they got to do all this work and get a couple morsels. I don't think that's going to be worth their time if they want to go out and do that. But then again, I don't want a hole so big they can just come in and destroy my bait and have it all out there as soon as they want it. I want them to come in, get a little bit, get back out, let the next bear come in and work on that pecking order.
I do know, and I've personally witnessed, and you'll see where we're welding the bar across the front. Actually discovered one day when I was out hunting, the benefits of having that bar coming across too is not only are the bears going to be in there eating any of the food, but we have a lot of ravens that normally show up on site. And it's actually kind of funny to watch the ravens come in to try to perch on that rod that runs across the front because they can't get their whole body in there. And actually by putting the rod a little bit inside the barrel, it makes it even more difficult. I had one raven last year. It was actually quite comical. He came in and he just kept teetering back and forth. He couldn't get into that barrel. And that raven got so bad, he started hollering and screaming and banging his head on the side of the barrel because he wasn't able to get to the bait. This whole bait theory too, not only does it help keep the weather off of your bait and help keep the bait around, keep it so the bears can't eat it as fast, it actually keeps a lot of your chipmunks, your squirrels, ravens, any of those other types of animals. It also makes them difficult to get to the bait. So we can't stress enough the importance of using the bait barrel. All right, what we're getting ready to do now is, now that Nick has actually cut the hole in the barrel, is he's going to actually be welding some rod around the edge of the hole. What that's going to do is, right now there's a lot of rough edges that are left around the hole. So we're going to get those cleaned up and actually weld the rod around the hole, and that'll keep the hair from rubbing off the bear's arms, because definitely if you get that bear of a lifetime and he's been hitting the barrel for a while, you don't want a bear that's actually got a bald forearm. So this will actually help out a lot to kind of preserve the hide on the bear's arm for you. So it's a pretty good idea. What Nick's planning to do now is he's welded our hole and he's made it nice and smooth for the bears so they don't tear up their paw. What he's going to do now is he's going to add 4 of these pieces of pipe on this barrel. And we put them at the top and the bottom, depending where we need to hook up, or both. So put 2 on this side, 2 on that side, because we don't know which way we're going to want our barrel to face. So it's versatile, we can go to any setup. But then he's going to take one and put in the very back behind it. And what that's going to do is, we have to hook up to a single tree. We'll wrap our chain around here, come through there and twist it around the tree, and then put a tree step through the chain, and it'll keep that barrel from twisting, so that bear has no way of moving this barrel and not getting your shot lined up. Part of the whole process of using a barrel is using this barrel for the 10-day process, is using it so you can have this bear positioned exactly how you want. You already know how far your shot's going to be. You know the position you want him in when you shoot him. Putting these on is vital to that, so he don't move. So when he comes in, there's only one way to get at the bait, and that's how you want him to get at that bait. And if you just lashed it around a tree, you'd ring the tree, probably kill it, and then you wouldn't have him lined up for the shot. And he could feed off that bait site where he was more comfortable feeding off that bait site. I want him to feed off it where we want him to feed off it.
when setting up the barrel onto the tree too, what I like to do is actually, instead of positioning the hole right directly at you, I don't know how you like to set it up, Gage, but what I like to do is actually set the barrel up where the hole's at about a 45-degree angle from me. So what that does is when that bear comes to feed, he's sitting there reaching in the hole and he's trying to get at the bait, actually positions the bear at about a 45-degree going away angle, and that's pretty much your optimal shot for a bow. You don't have any of the shoulder blade, any of the leg bones or leg muscles or anything in the way. You just basically have a clear, straight through shot at their vitals. So positioning the barrel on the tree is actually a really important thing to think about when you're setting up your bait side.
We also agree with that. We always set him to the side, so he comes in, he's like that, and just a slide away angle for a bow shot. You want that, like Jed said, right through that back, but we set it the same exact.
Yep, so remember that when you go to set your baits, make sure you set your barrel up in a way that you'll definitely have a good shot angle on it. Alright, what we're getting ready to do here now is the hole's been cut. We've had Nick weld the little rod around the side, get everything all smoothed out, you know, like we had talked about for the bears, getting their paw in and out without rubbing all the hair off. We've got the holders put on for the chain. Now what we're doing is Nick just measured up our dimensions for the inside of the barrel, and we're getting ready to install the rods within the barrel. And like we talked about, what those rods will be for is to actually make it a lot harder for the bear to get the remaining portions of the bait out of the barrel, thus making it last longer. Alright, as you can see here now, we actually have the bar installed and welded within the barrel. As we talked about before, you may not have access to a professional welder or all the equipment. One of the cheaper ways that you could probably do this at home is get yourself some all thread. Again, take your drill your holes in the appropriate places in the barrel. You can actually run some all thread through there and get yourself some good locking nuts to put on the outside. So that'd actually be another cheaper way of being able to build your bait barrel at home. So use all the options that you can, but you don't always have to have it professionally welded. You could still find ways to make it work for you.
What we did here is we just had Nick weld on this piece of bar. What it's going to do is it gives us an attachment point to hang on these bear suckers that we're trying to make right now. It's just something else that we can put on here to hang to give that bear something else to eat.
Not only that, by having the bear sucker hanging in front of the hole, it's just going to create another obstacle for the bear to get around also, to get in there to try to get the bait out. They know the food's in there, they're going to keep trying to get at it, but it's actually going to slow down how fast they can actually get in there and eat the food. And like we're always stressing on the dominancy theory, the longer you can actually keep the bear there, the better off you are actually, because it creates more time for the more dominant bears to come in and to catch the other bear that's there. As time rolls on and the dominancy kicks in, those bigger bears start to come in. It's going to make those smaller bears, it's going to make it so they didn't really actually get enough to eat, and they're going to want to come back again. So our theory is on this one is to actually to create more activity, because they're going to be a lot shorter visits when